Good morning, good morning. Hopefully everyone has their cups of coffee out there. I know I was up early trying to get the scoop on Rolex's new releases for 2024. Let's go ahead and spend some time going over the hits and misses. I am wearing my Rolex Explorer 2 16570. It is 7:41 a.m. Excuse me. Man, I need a little bit more coffee. Let's get down to business. Alright, the first watch that's been making its media rounds is the new GMT and Oyster Steel. This is a special alloy produced for Rolex and has a green GMT hand, has a nice kind of, I don't know, slate and black bezel, has the ceramic chrome bezel or whatever they're calling it. Is this a hit or a miss? In my opinion, it's a miss. It's kind of boring. It's not a bad looking watch, it's just not super interesting to me. Next up, a new line of day dates. First being the Ombre Dial. It's kind of like a slate fume dial. I think this is definitely a hit. It's very, very nice, very interesting. And me personally, I really like the kind of gradient dials. Very tastefully done. Another one is a yellow gold Roman numeral dial that they've brought back. I think that's definitely a hit. And then finally, one I want to go over is a day date in mother of pearl. Now, this is a little bit feminine, although I think it's kind of fanciful, elegant. It's still very refined. I'm not a huge fan of mother of pearl, although I do really like that in comparison to like meteorite dials, so I'm going to give this one a hit. Next up, perhaps one of the best releases Rolex has done in a long while, and it's not even utilizing an oyster case. I know, it's breaking a ton of rules for me as a Rolex lover. If it's a Rolex, it's gotta have an oyster case, bing, bang, boom, period. The Platinum 1908. Now, I know people are gonna jump down my throat and be like, that's essentially a Cellini, and you hate Cellinis. Well, here's the deal. They did something right with the 1908 series. I'm a vintage watch lover. This kind of scratches that vintage watch, old school dress watch itch, and it is a Rolex. It's not an oyster case Rolex. It goes against the kind of carbon copy sports watch theme that Rolex does, but it's very elegant, very nice, very simple, and they executed upon that simplicity perfectly, which is not easy to do. And this one is the Platinum 1908. And of course, with Rolex, if it's going to be platinum, it's going to have that beautiful powder blue dial. And I think they call the design on the dial grain of rice. When I think grain of rice and watches, I think beads of rice bracelet, but I think they call this kind of guilloche pattern grain of rice. It's beautiful, and it's very, very detailed, and it's very elegant, and I love it. Absolutely a hit. Okay, so out of all the watches on the Rolex new release list, the one that is getting the most media attention is the Deep Sea in 18 karat yellow gold. This is a hit, although it's probably unwearable. I think it's over 330 grams. So this is like, you want to talk about a chocolate bar, this is a chocolate bar. So, okay, in the jewelry world, large pieces of gold are often referred to as chocolate bars because you know how candy bars sometimes have that foil wrapper, and if you run your fingernail over that foil, it will kind of mar, right? Because gold is very malleable. Well, this is the ultimate chocolate bar watch because this is going to be a huge, huge hunk of gold on your wrist. I think the retail price is just over $55,000. We'll see who ends up picking one up and if we can get some shots of one in the wild. It's the ultimate FU watch for sure. Would I wear it? Probably not. Is it totally badass? Absolutely. Will it definitely sink to the depths of the Mariana Trench? Yes. And the last series of watches I want to bring up when we're talking about Rolex's new catalog is the Diamond Daytonas. Now, I know some people out there are huge fans of, bedazzled watches, gemstones on watches. I think the farthest I would go would be like the sapphire gem on the crown of a Cartier, or maybe very tasteful baguette indexes on like a day date, but that would be like pushing it greatly. These Diamond Daytonas, I'm gonna say it's a miss. They're kind of gaudy, kind of gauche, kind of tasteless in my opinion. You know, the Daytona is a sports watch. It's a chronograph. When you bedazzle them, it kind of... me personally, when a watch has a ton of diamonds on it, it looks cheap and fake, even though obviously these are the opposite. These are authentic and probably exorbitantly expensive. But still, I'm giving it a miss. So guys, overall, when we're looking at their new releases for this year of 2024, is it a hit or a miss? Personally, I think it's overall a hit. And that's a good thing, because the last 5 to 7 years, Rolex has just been kind of disappointing. Okay, this year, they didn't just give us watches that we've seen before, but on different bracelets or straps, which Rolex has done for a few years in a row. I mean, this year they did put a Sky Dweller on a Jubilee and say that was a new release. I didn't even add that to the list today. If I would call that a miss, because that's kind of boring. But overall, this wasn't crazy exciting, like, oh my god, Rolex is the best, they're the best. But it's also not like, oh my god, Rolex, you f***ing suck. So it's not a disappointment. It's not the craziest, most awesome releases in the world. But overall, I think it's a hit. I really, really do enjoy the kind of ombre dial, the fume dial that they came out with. I really love that 1908 with the powder blue dial and the platinum case. The deep sea yellow gold, just, you know, ultimate FU piece. But they did have some misses. The GMT Master 2 in Oyster Steel, who cares? Diamond Daytonas, who cares? And again, releasing a Sky Dweller on a Jubilee, who really cares? But let me know what you think. What are the best and worst releases from Rolex this year? I want to hear from you. I'll see you in the comment section, and I'll catch you on the next episode. All right, guys, stay happy, stay healthy, stay blessed. I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller, and always remember, I didn't invent time. I just tell it.